It's my pleasure now to introduce our CABE Honorary Chair, Richard Martinez, who is Superintendent of the Pomona Unified School District. Mr. Martinez has served on many district, county, and state committees on school leadership, urban education, diversity, safety, guidance, and child welfare. He has presented in the areas of district leadership, student achievement, school climate, parent engagement, peer support, and gang awareness at regional and state conferences. In talking about his district, he said, "The Pomona Unified School District is a world-class educational system committed to respect, where all students, parents, staff, and community members are valued partners, responsibility, where everyone is accountable for what they say and do, and results, which reflect a high level of student achievement." Please welcome Superintendent Richard Martinez.
Good morning. Buenos días. Okay, ¿dónde está Pomona? Pomona Unified School District. Thank you. Now I know where to go say hi to my people. I apologize for that, but I just want to see where Pomona's sitting. I encourage you, you've heard some important things this morning, to contact your legislature and let them know your view, your concerns. That is critical. I'm glad it was brought up, and I will sign that letter myself to make sure that we support that effort in what we're trying to accomplish here. Thank you. I want to welcome everyone to the 38th Annual CABE Conference. This year's theme is Voices for Change. We are a nation of changing and diverse cultures, and change is not about how we differ, but how we blend together to create something new, unique, and creative. Well over 200 years, America has welcomed wave upon wave of immigrants. The English, who first left to establish a land of freedom and opportunity. The Irish, the Germans, the Chinese. Our national voices are a choir of rich and changing cultures, and this is truly our strength. Today, Hispanics are the fastest growing population of the United States, and Hispanic students are the largest minority group in our schools. By 2050, Hispanics will comprise 30% of the nation's population. Here in California, 50%, more than 50% by that year. One of every 5 students today is Latino. As a nation, we need an educated workforce, and if we are to compete in a global economy, 6 years from now, 65% of all U.S. jobs will require workers with an education beyond high school. Education is the surest way to secure our nation's long-term economic strength. We know that every child has potential, every child can learn, and every child deserves a world-class education. We have seen the future, and you know it like I do, the future, it's our children. You are here today because you are the leaders. Even as a parent, you are the leaders of the community and of education, and committed to making a difference. I call on you to join me in the CABE conferences and workshops. Contribute your best. Don't go shopping. You heard that? Don't go touring. Contribute your best, learn all you can, then together we can use this knowledge to help educate and support our kids. Welcome to CABE. Enjoy your couple of days. Thank you.
Again, if we can thank Superintendent Martinez for his words of welcome. It's really an honor for me to be able to present CABE's Vision Award this year to Dr. Tove Skutnab-Kangas, a colleague, mentor, and dear friend. The CABE Vision Award recognizes individuals who've been relentless in pursuing powerful visions of multilingualism and multiculturalism, and who've persevered in struggles against injustice and inequity. Dr. Tove Skutnab-Kangas epitomizes such an individual. She's fluent in 6 languages, has earned 2 doctorates, and continues to write prolifically, having written and edited more than 50 books and monographs, and 400 book chapters and scientific articles now translated into more than 48 languages. She's dedicated her 50-year career to realizing the language rights of oppressed peoples. Her groundbreaking work in linguistic human rights, linguistic genocide, bilingual and multilingual education, and the relationship between linguistic and cultural diversity and biodiversity has been instrumental in shaping our thinking and our strategic actions here at CABE. She's presently involved in projects in Nepal and India, where indigenous children are being taught through the medium of their mother tongues. She's worked for decades with indigenous education and has advised and trained educational and political leaders in many countries about bilingual and multilingual education. Today, we honor her for her exemplary and immeasurable contributions to the promotion of linguistic human rights and for her courageous and long-standing battle against subtractive education and its negative impact on children and families around the world. She is a truth seeker, a visionary, an evening star by which we're able to navigate the twilight of our own contexts and storms. She is unabridged, unapologetic, unshakable in her life's testimony against oppression. Some years ago, I wrote that she anchors our tapestry of advocacy border to border. Today, I say that she's one of our most treasured voices for change. I'd like to ask Dr. Tove Skutnab-Kangas to join us, and I'd like to invite you to join me in recognizing the 2013 recipient of the CABE Board Award for Vision, Tove Skutnab-Kangas.
Muchas gracias to Francisca for the wonderful overstated words. And buenos dias to all of you. Hyvää huomenta, in my language, one of them. CABE was founded in 1976, the same year that Pertti Toukomaa and I published our first 100-page report for UNESCO, where we criticized immigrant minority education. This report was, I heard later, widely read in the United States, especially by Spanish and Portuguese-speaking colleagues. Some years later, 2 people who had also read it, David Dolson and Jim Cummins, introduced me to CABE. And CABE has been my North American home ever since. That home is symbolized to me by all that David Dolson, Alma Flor Ada, Francisca Sanchez, and many, many others have meant, have given, and done for me during many decades. CABE has been the place where I came time after time, both digitally and in person, to get emotional strength and support in the struggles, and to learn from all of you. I also came in order to feel normal. Here meaning being somebody for whom English was not the first language or the second or third or even fourth language. This kind of networks of solidarity is one of my 3 cornerstones for keeping visions alive. The second necessary cornerstone is knowledge. We have to know why we believe what we believe, and it has to be based on solid research and experience. Thirdly, academics, teachers, and other educators cannot do anything without parents and, of course, students, but parents also have to have this knowledge. Knowledge, strength, and belief in what you are doing, and networks are decisive. Long ago, I was really delighted when I first saw some CABE teachers giving their students these t-shirts which said, "Blessed with bilingual brains." It was the first sign of proudly declaring that the deficiency thinking had been left behind. David Dolson and his colleagues gave me a t-shirt with, "I do not suffer from monolingual stupidity." And Jim Cummins managed to steal it from me several years later. I very often say monolingualism is an illness, but the good thing with it is it can be cured. And I have, as you can hear already, not always or even often been the nice person saying positive things. My critique is very often harsh, and those of you who will come and listen to me on Friday will know. Now I'm saying that in 50 years' time, those dinosaurs who are voluntarily English monolinguals, meaning those who could have learned other languages but chose not to, we are going to place those dinosaurs in pathological museums. I hope you remember that. Then my vision, and now I would need, I can't see whether you have, yes, my vision. We Finnish speakers were fighting in Sweden for mother tongue-based multilingual education and social justice already in the late 1960s, before many of you were born. And it was hard. How did we keep the vision alive? I recently found a copy of something that I had sent to the group of Finnish parents that I was working with. We had organized a 7-week school strike, and we got, after 7 weeks, most of what we wanted. But the Swedish authorities called us crazy. And of course we were. And I'll translate the text to you. My text on the left-hand side says, "Greetings to you other crazies, Tove." And then I had added some of the names of the parents and said, "Add all the other names you want." And I'll translate them, the rest. This is Hagar the Horrible, the Viking. He says, "Where on earth are those people hiding again? Again they are doing something stupid." And then he sees them and asks, "What are you doing?" And these so-called crazy people reply, "We are sowing seeds in the clouds." And Hagar explodes. "I've never in my life heard anything as idiotic as that. Go do something useful. Feed the pigs or put the oars in order." And the crazies start walking away, and flowers start raining from the clouds. Now, can I have my second one? And I named some of those flowers. Are the names coming there? Do I have one more? Are the names there now? I hope they are. And it was actually Francisca and her staff who taught me how to do this kind of technical thing. And all the flowers came from my own garden. So, despite thousands of wonderful people in this country, without CABE and all my friends here, I would find this country absolutely unbearable. I would go insane if I had to live here without CABE and all that you here stand for. I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, if it has any bottom, I hope not. Thank you all, and keep your visions alive, and remember, what you sow in the clouds will come back later. Thank you. Muchas gracias.
We'd like to give our wonderful friend Tove another round of applause. I have the pleasure now of introducing our keynote speaker, Dr. Yang Zhao, Presidential Chair and Associate Dean for Global Education in the College of Education at the University of Oregon. Born and raised in China, Dr. Zhao taught English before coming to the United States in the early 1990s. Since that time, he's become an internationally known scholar, author, and speaker. He's focused his career on the implications of globalization and technology on education. He's developed computer games for language teaching, founded research and development institutions to explore innovative education models, and has designed schools that stimulate global competence. He's published over 100 articles and 20 books, is a recipient of the Early Career Award from the American Educational Research Association, and was named one of 2012's 10 most influential people in educational technology by the Tech and Learn magazine. Dr. Zhao encourages us to tackle the issue of how we can prepare our students for careers that have yet to be invented. He challenges the traditional educational paradigm and proposes a new paradigm that nurtures global, creative, and entrepreneurial talents. He advocates for the development of world-class learners with the skills, competence, and creativity to thrive in the 21st century. According to Dr. Zhao, these 21st century skills include collaboration, the ability to network and make friends globally, critical thinking, and the relentless capacity to innovate and create. I'd like to remind you that there will be a book signing with Dr. Zhao immediately following this morning's program. Join me in welcoming Dr. Yang Zhao.
Well, good morning. It was very refreshing to hear Dr. Tove was talking about bilingualism, multilingualism. It was funny, I grew up in a little village in China and I managed to learn English. And so I was thinking about, given today's technology, there's no reason for anyone not to become, at least, learn another language. But the reason I learned English is because I was really bad at math. So you have to sacrifice that part as well. So you got to be bad at something to be good at something else. Now, I really enjoy this conference. I have never seen a program book with so many welcoming letters. Have you seen that? It's a lot of letters from people. You get, you lay out expectations all the time. This is like a common core and all this stuff. Now, I like it because it lays out what we are imagining the future might be, right? You hear from our, by the way, you guys have honorary chairs, vice chairs. Do you have other kind of chairs, have so many chairs. It's okay. So, which is good. It's a good thing. No, chairs are good. Tables are bad, but no. I have really enjoyed reading this. Seriously, I'm not joking. If I can find it, I will read it to you. This is from an honorary chair. This is our future kids. I like this. This is a good definition. It says that Our students, we want them to be, we prepare and support our students with 21st century skills so they may dream, imagine, experiment, and reach their highest potential as they become multilingual communicators, multicultural and professional collaborators. You can read the rest. I'm not going to go over all that stuff. And then we have from the voice from other chairs. Okay, this talks about something else. Okay, we are our students. Our mission is to promote equity and educational achievement for students with diverse cultural, racial, and linguistic backgrounds. So I like all of those things because it touches upon what I want to talk about today is really, what does it mean to have a good education? What does it mean to have a good education? I'm sure you all have interacted with children sometimes, right? They are somewhere in your life, I think, right? So you would try to imagine what kind of education you want to have, and I want to show you this thing. That's not a thing, that's my daughter, by the way. Whenever I talk to people, I'd like to ask about what kind of education are you giving my children? And what kind of education really matters? Or are we going to the wrong direction? I can show you another picture. By the way, you know what this thing is? Can you make a guess? I took this, I've shown this in many countries and cultures. People have different reactions to this. It's a picture of another picture of a product that's trying to advertise. I took this in South Africa, Cape Town. Some of you may have seen it. I've shown this as a cultural test. It's the advertisement of a product. And people have very different imaginations of what the product is. Let me check out with the California CABE people. What do you think this is? Anybody? Come on. What? Navigation? GPS, right? You are so smart, you're so correct, but you're very boring answer. That's it. Yeah. That's a correct answer. I found America is not very imaginative in this, and it's not very romantic in that. The Australians have the best answer. Whenever I show this, the first response was, "This is Viagra." Now, can you see the connection now? Okay, good. All right. Now, this is advertisement for GPS. I brought this out, and the connection, well, you can see this. That's the second panel, and that's the third panel. Because right now, I feel like in the US, in education, we've been trying to invent or reinvent or perfect the GPS. We're trying to make a GPS, exactly take us where we want to go, but without knowing where we want to go. That's our problem. We're trying to fix a machine without knowing what product to make. So when I know in California, I was just in Fresno, I think a couple of weeks ago. I might offend you today because I'm going to say something that some of you may cherish, very dearly to your heart. That's called the Common Core, which is a GPS doesn't know which direction you want to go. Okay, if you think about the US now, for the past how many years, we've had massive education reforms. Reforms are trying to make the GPS more exact and more precise, but we actually don't know where we want to go. If we don't know the education we want, no matter how good you try to perfect the system, that's not going to work. And when I was showing the picture of by the way, this is what I think where we are. You can't read it. It says, welcome to, oh my gosh, we're nowhere place. That's it. That's what I feel like American education is. For example, you think about the reforms. We have now this thing called race to the top, right? You heard about that? Now, do you know race to the top of what? I don't. The only image I can have is combining Obama and Bush, that you push all the children to the top, they fall off the cliff, no child is left behind. That's how we combine this circle. That's how you think about the whole thing. It's the idea. Now, I have nothing, honestly, against the Common Core if the Common Core standards were not common or core. Nothing against standards. The problem when they are common and core, that's a problem. And the Common Core, by no means, no matter what, is going to get where we want to go, because it's going to fix an old paradigm that's not going to deliver the future. And when we fix the old paradigm, we are missing great opportunities brought about by globalization, technology, and human diversity that we need to capitalize on. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, is to say what makes sense, where we want to go, what we need, and why the Common Core can deliver, can give us there. I did not come here to attack the Common Core, because I've done that in many other places. I don't have to do it in Los Angeles. But however, I feel like I have to talk about it, because it's something that consumes so much energy. It makes us to do something that will deliver us nothing. And by the time we finish the job, we will have lost generations of teachers and children to what I call the old sausage-making paradigm of education. Let me actually show you something. What makes education, what matters in education? So I got different ways to think about this. I'm going to say this, how do you define this? We have this multilingual communicator, 21st century skills. I have two children. You saw my daughter. I have another child who is in college. He is going to graduate in June. He has, you can imagine, spent a lot of my money, and it's college now. You know that. It's as Chinese, I'm supposed to pay for everything, so I paid for everything, and now he's going to graduate. When he was younger, I had different dreams. I want to give him 21st century skills. I want to even give him 23rd century skills, and couldn't find, and tried everything. I wanted him to become a musician, a scientist, a mathematician, and everything, Now he's going to graduate. As you know, you've done this. You come to the end. You said, okay, now the only dream I have is he's not going to come back to stay in my basement. Now that's the definition of good education. Keeping other people's children out of their basement.